Hi, and welcome to Mrs. PM Reads, where we are continuing in the Magic Circle by Katherine Neville, a nice historical fiction that I have been really enjoying. All right, our last video was, Ariel really gave it to her grandmother, Zoe, demanding all these answers to these questions and saying how it's some of the answers were sickening to her, et cetera, and how it talked about Hitler and the people who killed themselves and their family members on April 30th, something about Beltane, Night of the Dead, etc. And then the biggest question, Zoe says to Ariel, is that, let's see, the most important event was the marriage between Hitler and Eva Braun before they killed themselves. So Zoe's going to tell us a tale, I guess, about that. So that because the next section is titled Mr. Brown. Okay. And there is a certain man, a man whose real name is unknown to us, who is working in the dark to his own ends. Who is he? We do not know. He is always spoken of by the unassuming title of Mr. Brown. But one thing is certain, he is the master criminal of his age. He controls a marvelous organization. Most of the peace propaganda during the war was originated and financed by him. His spies are everywhere. Can you describe him at all? I really didn't notice. He was quite ordinary, just like anyone else. And that is a quote out of an Agatha Christie book, The Secret Adversary from 1922. He was born at Braun-on-Inn, a town whose name also reflects the word brown. The stormtroopers who brought him to power were called brown shirts. The offices of the National Socialist Party were located at Brown House in Munich. And then there was Dr. Werner von Braun, whose secret rocket fabrication was performed by slaves in underground caves in the Harz Mountains. There's no T there, Harz mountains, quite near the Brocken. The Fuhrer himself named the place Dora, meaning like Pandora, the gift. Okay, names and words were important to Lucky. Okay, Lucky is the nickname she has for Hitler. Words such as providence and fate and destiny appear dozens of times throughout Mein Kampf. As in today, it seems providential that fate should have chosen Braun-on-Inn as my birthplace. The inn is one of the 4 rivers that rise near each other at a place high in the Swiss Alps. Rivers that form a cross spreading over the map of Europe and flow into 4 seas. The Inn is the last tributary to the Danube as it leaves Germany to cross Austria, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Romania, Bulgaria, emptying at last into the Black Sea. The northern arm of the cross, the Rhine, passes through Germany and Holland, spilling into the North Sea. The Rhone flows west and south through France to the Mediterranean. The Ticino joins the Po in Italy and empties into the Adriatic. 4 rivers, 4 directions. The division of space into 4 quarters, like the 4 rivers of Eden, or making 2 lines cross at the 4 ends, terminate in right angles, was also an ancient symbol of enormous power, called the cross of the Magi. In Sanskrit, the name was swastika, one of the oldest symbols of mankind. It describes 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water, and a 5th hidden at the center, the polar axis, the hinge upon which the world turns around, which the celestial bears revolve. At the place where these 4 rivers rise is the little St. Bernard Pass, known to the Romans as Alpes Graea, the Greek Alps, believed to be the path of, Hercules on his return to Greece, and Hannibal's route into Italy. A Templar to Jupiter existed here before the time of Caesar, and at the end of the last century, a utopian community of some importance to my story. The most important axis of the German peoples connected geomantically to this very spot was the Irminsul, which stood in the sacred grove. All these are difficult words, guys, sorry. So the sacred grove at Externstein, a stone outcropping high in the Teutoburg forest of Westphalia. It marked the hallowed place where the Teutonic tribes drove back the Romans in AD 9, forcing Rome to abandon her northern province of Germania. When Charlemagne defeated the Saxons in 772, the first thing he did was destroy this famous pillar, along with its sacred grove, for he understood the Irminsul marked far more than an important date in Teutonic history. Ancient lore told that the pillar had stood at this spot since the dawn of time. Irmin's Sole, the path of Hermann, 2 ends, was the bond connecting heaven and earth. The Norse, N-O-R-S-E, Norse god Hermann, variously Tyr, Tyu, Ziu, was none other than the warlike sky god Zeus. His stone, the Irminsul, was carved in the shape of the Tyr rune, the oldest northern form of the swastika. Okay, I'm going to stop here for a second and just try to show you some pictures. So this is the, this is the rivers they're talking about and how they cross. Oh, and the symbol is there as well in the middle of the book. Yeah. Okay. Guido von List, the same Viennese occultist who at the turn of this century, during a bout of blindness, had rediscovered the lost meaning of the runes, had also 20 years earlier found the Iduna Society, an esoteric group named for the Teutonic goddess Idun, who carries the magic apples of immortality. Like the Roman Idas, for whom the Ides, or turning point of a month, were named, Idun was the goddess of the eternal return. The Sanskrit root was also one of the 2 great forces, Ida and Pingala, forming the serpent path of transformation. At the height of World War I, Guido von List revealed his last and most powerful prophecy, inspired by the Eddas, the famous Icelandic sagas that tell of the world's final battle in the last days. In the legend, each warrior who dies on the plain of Ida, shining renewal, is instantly reborn as soon as he's slain. List foresaw that those who died on the battlefield for the ideals contained in the runes would participate in the eternal return, that those slain in the First World War, the war to end all wars, would instantly reincarnate like those on the mythological plane of Ida. The newly reborn would then coalesce into a force that would attain its full power when most of them turned 18. This force would awaken the sleeping spirit of der Stark von oben, the strong one from on high, who would invoke the ancient Teutonic gods and change the world. An astrological examination revealed that this spirit would manifest itself around the end of 1932, unleashing the power of the runes that had been sleeping for 2,000 years since the time of the Roman conquest. When Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany on January 30th, 1933, at once he ordered the rebuilding and consecration of the Irminsul destroyed by Charlemagne. Seems like it wouldn't quite be the same. At nearby Paderborn, Himmler remodeled the castle of Wewelsburg for his unholy order of Teutonic Knights. When Hitler instructed his architect, Albert Speer, to copy the design of the Temple of Zeus at Pergamon on the Turkish coast for the Nurnberg rally grounds, the German College of Dozers didn't just douse the field to locate major earth forces. They determined from architectural renderings that the 1,300-foot temple structure where Hitler's podium was to be placed would not be situated correctly to harness full geomantic powers. So the building site was relocated several hundred feet to the west, requiring a lake to be drained and a railroad to be rerouted. Over the stadium, Hitler ordered an enormous eagle with outstretched wings in the shape of the Tyr rune, symbolizing both Weibaren, female eagle consort of Zeus, and the Weibaren, the weaver or spinner of the world's fate in the last days. Hitler told Speer this image was revealed to him in a dream he'd had after being blinded, rather like Liszt, by mustard gas while serving on the Western Front in World War I. These two elements, eagle and spider, soaring and weaving, the forces of sky and cave, were combined in a single heraldic spirit that would one day serve as sun and moon, guiding the Holy Order. On November 9th, 1918, when Lucky, Hitler, learned that Kaiser Wilhelm II had abdicated and the new socialist government had sued for peace, it triggered a second prophetic dream that Wotan had come to guide him and Germany to greatness. He wrote this poem. I often go on bitter nights to Wotan's oak in the quiet glade, invoking dark powers to weave a union, those runic powers. The moon creates with its sorcerer's spell, and all who are brazen by daylight are defeated by their magic formula. And there's a stopping spot there. We're about 15 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and stop. Okay, remember, I think I probably said it last time, but it's a historical fiction. So I don't know what is fiction and what is fact here. And if it's something you're interested in, go check it out. Do some research. All right, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. and I will see you next time.